It is that time to talk all things Detroit Pistons basketball, and who better to have along with us for the next 30 minutes than two guys that combined to score more than 28,000 points in a Pistons jersey. We've got the two-time champ and Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas, seven-time All-Star Grant Hill. I'm Jared Greenberg. It's an exciting time. You guys get especially juiced up for this one. Like, we've had to contain Isiah.
I'm ready to go. Detroit basketball. I got to get it in. It was just waiting to come out, Grant.
I see, man. I see. I like that.
Okay, I'm good now. I'm good.
You owe me a few dollars. I had 30 seconds into the show. After making the postseason in 2016, there were high expectations last year. However, the Pistons missed the playoffs for the seventh time in the last 8 years. Silver lining, it led to another lottery pick, and Grant Hill's going to like this one. They went to a Dookie, Luke Kennard, hoping he can be a big boost to the Pistons' offense. And their perimeter D should be significantly better as well due to the addition of Avery Bradley. Coach Van Gundy hopes his squad learned from a disappointing year, coming in way more mentally prepared this season.
We expected, our players expected to just sort of go from 44 wins and move on from there. And as much as we talked about, you've got to start over from ground zero, I'm not sure mentally we ever did that. And we just weren't ready for how hard it was going to be. I don't think we were quite as hungry as we were in the 15-16 season. Our approach was just never fully right.
Well, Stan's squad didn't make life easy on themselves last season, taking a whole lot of low percentage shots while the league is going inside into the three ball. Seemed like the Pistons were going the other way. Entering year 4 of the Van Gundy era, he is one of two men that still has the rare dual role of being the team president and coach. Simple as this. Isiah, is it working?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, it's not working, and I don't think it's, you can't say Stan is not a good coach. He's proven that he's a good coach, but to be president and coach, I think he's finding it very difficult. And I think when you look at this Piston organization, they talked about having a culture change, and they wanted to change the culture of the team, wanted to change what the team was all about and the makeup of the team. And, it just hasn't worked. Now, no one can fault Stan's X and O's in his play calling, but from a president-coach standpoint and a culture change standpoint, clearly it hasn't worked.
No, and I agree with Isiah. It has not worked. It's impossible. I mean, obviously, Greg Popovich has done a masterful job in San Antonio managing both the responsibilities of the front office and being a coach. But to do that for most other teams, and obviously there's only one other in Stan Van Gundy who has both responsibilities, it just has not worked out. Evident last year there was a lot of discussion about trade rumors and people were on the block, and you wonder if that affected things somewhat in their locker room there with the Detroit Pistons. But, look, I think the expectations were higher. Year 2, they got 44 wins. They took a huge step back. You wonder, are people starting to tune Stan Van Gundy out in the locker room? So there's a lot of question marks about this team, but they certainly have an opportunity to turn the corner.
Well, you guys obviously won a lot of games, especially in the regular season. We look at just a 3-year run. Now, Isiah wanted this to be a 2-year run.
No, I wanted 2 years. Because my 95 year wasn't that great.
Yeah, but guess what? That 2-year run would have looked a whole lot better, too, for Isiah.
It would have looked a lot better. No, I
okay,
get that.
But so for this 3-year run, it hasn't met expectation. But let's go, Isiah, let's build off of this here with, you've heard the rumors of, listen, Stan decided to pay Andre, decided to trade for it, and then re-sign Reggie Jackson. There's been disappointment, and the rumors of whether trades, how factual they are, we'll never know. But how does that affect the locker room?
Well, Grant hit on it. When you're the president and the coach, and your name is being tossed about in trade rumors, like Jackson or like Drummond was last year, and those are your two highest paid players. Those are your two best players, and these were the two players that you talked about building around. And now they're dissatisfied. Don't necessarily have great communication going on, and then there's a lack of trust. And when trust and belief is broken inside the locker room, then you have what we saw last year. You lose the team. And the team is only as good as they trust in the coach and they believe in the coach. And if they don't have trust and belief, then they're not going to be able to go out on the floor and execute. Now, has Stan built that trust and belief back with those two gentlemen? We'll have to wait and see.
Guys, Andre Drummond had a tremendous year back in 15-16. Made the All-Star team, got you more than 16 points, led the league at nearly 15 rebounds per game. And then what happened last year?
Well, he took a step back, and I think it's indicative of this team in general. You know, he was such a force 2 years ago. You really thought he was ready to really take his game to that next level. Sometimes with young players, it's handling success. Now there's expectations, there's responsibility, and Andre Drummond obviously took a step back. You know, he's definitely early on, at least it seems he's improved with his free throw shooting.
12 of 14. That's insane numbers.
I mean, there's ticker tape parade and, you know, on Woodward there. But no, I mean, he's a young player. I know he's probably not excited about what he did, and he has an opportunity now to get back and be better this season.
Andre said he finally figured out how to handle the summer, what to do to get ready. It took him several years into the game, but we'll see if that bears out with the results. Another guy, Reggie Jackson, who didn't play the first few weeks of the season due to injury, and that really set him and the entire team back.
Yes, it did. And you know, he and Drummond had great chemistry. And, you know, I thought when Jackson got hurt, it also affected Drummond's play because they had built great chemistry with that high screen and roll, understanding when and where to shoot, when to pass. And, you know, can he come back and regain his confidence? And Grant, you know this more than any player, you know, coming off an injury. You know, your body may feel well. The doctors may say you're okay. But then when you get back out on the court, in terms of timing, in terms of confidence, I mean, you probably can speak to this more so than I can because you know, you've been through it, you know, personally. So I don't know if Jackson, if his confidence comes back in his game as well as it was before.
You make a great point, Isiah, and that obviously led to, I think, his bad start when he did come back. Look, when you come back from an injury, it's just as much mental and emotional. And Reggie Jackson was not the same player that he had been 2 years before. And that has a huge effect. The way they play, he sets the table, he gets Andre Drummond engaged, he can score, he played with so much confidence. And you didn't see that much last season. So now that he has a year, an offseason under his belt, he can prepare, start when everyone else starts. I expect to see Reggie Jackson get back to form and get back to where he was 2 years ago.
And maybe some additional leadership in the locker room may help.